everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. One of the great things about doing this show, I've been doing this show for like almost 3 years now. We're in August 2018, kicked off January 2016, and I've had a lot of returning guests, and I've got my favourites, so to speak, and I know the fans have as well, people we love to see back on the show. Today is no different. We did the Battle Rap Resume episode, we did, I think, the second episode of Barstoid, we did Top 10 Funniest Don't Flop Battlers, which is a really slept-on episode, really great episode. Pamflit, how's it going?
Very good, mate. I'm buzzing because I was one of your first guests, I believe, and I used to get a lot of people sort of asking for bits and pieces, and you were just another person at the time, but obviously you've gone to achieve great things in the scene, so congratulations.
No, thank you very much. And you got in touch with me a little while ago, and you were just saying you wanted to speak about the modern state of battle rap, and I really appreciate the fact that over the past week or so, as you've been away, you've been sending me occasional Facebook messages, just sentences, little topics that you want to touch on. And the first one, you didn't really explain this, I'm just going to throw it at you. What did you mean by, in the context of, UK battle rap in the scene, what did you mean by the Max Sherry factor?
I mean, these might not be in order of importance, but
no, of course.
Just throw them at me as you see. As I say, I listened to your show, and what inspired me was hearing the Magic Mike episode recently, where he talked on the same subject, and I was literally talking to him as he was talking to you. Obviously, he couldn't respond, so my only option was to inbox you my opinions on it, in the hope that it would remind me when we eventually got to talk. So the Max Sherry factor is the fact that Max Sherry is a name. People know who Max Sherry is. Mm-hmm. I've seen his Facebook statuses, and he's talked about how people recognise him and buzz off meeting him and stuff. And that's such an important thing for a battle rapper, is the recognition that they get from the public. So, but the factor is, and this isn't just Max Sherry. This is all the Max Sherrys out there. The little guys, not on the bottom of the card, but sort of on the bottom of the card, but they should be proud to be on the bottom of big cards. Do you know what I mean? So the Max Sherry factor is he's got an opportunity. He's got an opportunity to be a huge factor in a scene that he clearly loves, and he needs to turn the notch up 20% and turn up to battles and turn up a little bit more prepared, because he's got a name. He's got a name through almost a novelty thing, that Pedro incident and things like that. But what I want to see is these guys who are in the scene, who are battle rappers, who are enjoying the recognition from the public, but are putting in the work to earn that.
Yeah. I mean, we just did the Battle Rap Resume event actually 2 days ago. Mac battled Evil there. Mac did choke, unfortunately. He did get clowned on, and it is weird, isn't it, in battle rap? Like, did these sort of people exist in the early days of Don't Flop? I guess they did to a certain extent. These kind of, like, I don't want to call them memes, but you know what I mean? It's kind of, Mac's not an archaic, but he's still a battle rapper.
Yeah, almost battle rappers were memes. Battle rappers back in the day, we all had our own little niche, our own little stupid factor, our own characters.
Yeah,
Mac's a character.
Yeah,
whether he's designed his personality to be that, he is a character. The Facebook statuses, I've got his good mate Ashley Randall on Facebook as well, and I end up sort of finding myself responding to a lot of Ashley Randall's Facebook statuses, because he's almost a bigger character than Max Sherry himself. But Max Sherry's put himself out there as the battle rapper. Ashley Randall's almost a mini figurehead in the scene because of Max Sherry.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is we aren't looking to fill these roles, we just fill them. And Max Sherry has filled this role as this sort of fun, sort of young looking, he looks like the gay kid from Hollyoaks. And that's, but that's almost like, it is almost like a personality in a way. Do you know what I mean? But I just want to see him try harder. I want to see him try harder at the bottom of the card, because it raises, when you start off with a good battle, when you start off with your Max Sherry versus insert name here, and it's a good battle, and Max Sherry can perform and can entertain, then it sets the day up, it sets the crowd up, it sets everything up for the rest of the event. And I really, really want to see your Max Sherrys, not just Max Sherry, but the guys at the bottom of the card who are there for a reason, who have personality and draw fans in with that interest to raise their game, try harder, turn up, and not just turn up, but turn up and set the day off and make the event something special from the start.
And Mac is unique. He does have a character, he does have a comedic element. Is that maybe a problem in battle rap? Because most of the newcomers that people get excited by, they're normally the bars guys, the writing guys. There's not many new funny people in UK battle rap, really.
But you've just said people get excited by it. I get more. I've probably mentioned 5 or 6 people to you out of the 200 people that are active in the scene today, and Max Sherry was one of them. So I get excited as a battle rap fan, as someone who, if I was a stick of rock, I'd have battle rap written right through me. Max Sherry excites me. So although the casuals, the filthy casuals, like the bar heavy stuff, and I'm not saying that all true battle rap fans are the same as me, but
right.
from someone who's followed the scene from almost day one, from the birth of YouTube, Max Sherry is a guy that excites me, and I want to see more from him.
Would you ever battle Mac?
I wouldn't battle anyone anymore.
Are you completely done?
I think so. Yeah. I think it's almost a case of, I was listening to the Canal episode literally 20 minutes ago, and you were talking about people who put the work rate in, and I put the work rate in. And I can't do that now. I was in a mindset of, I knew what I was doing at the time, and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to sit down and create bars. I have fun. I send people bars here and there when I think of them. But I wouldn't be able to sit down and write and perform a whole battle. My wife starts trying to talk to me and engage in my conversation when I'm at home, and I wouldn't have time to write, unfortunately.
Yeah, Gemini in the comments, I should say we are live streaming this. If you got any questions or retorts or anything we've been saying, let us know. We'll go through them later. Saying the problem is people are shit. The fans like the whole we take drugs and get fucked up culture. I mean, is there a professionalism lacking now, or was that always a miss?
That was always a miss. I mean, it's a sloppy scene, and the comparisons have always, for me, I'll always, as a wrestling fan, I'll always go back to wrestling. It's a popular one, and the wrestlers were drug takers. Back in the day, back in the golden era of wrestling, and they're all dead because of it, but they were all on drugs. Do you know what I mean? It's a young scene. It's a single male scene. It's teenagers and people in their mid-20s. Again, Tom, I'm in my mid-30s now. That's probably another reason why I wouldn't ever step back in the ring.
Another person you mentioned, and I know that he's a big wrestling fan, is the Saviour, Danny Jack. And, I think he said that this is his last event now, next in line. He's maybe a little sick of battle rap. And you were saying that it might be because, despite being in charge of the up-and-comers, he's booked a lot of Americans in his time as a booker. Yeah,
and that can be very difficult. You're paying a lot of money for someone who might not necessarily turn up and even want to talk to the fans. I did a gig with Disaster in Holland. I smashed my first ever battle was in Holland, and I smashed it. So they invited me back a couple of years later. They paid me hundreds of pounds. I got a free flat. It was the guy who organised it. He gave me his flat. He stayed with his girlfriend for the week. So I had a flat in Rotterdam for a week. Got loads of money. Got treated like a king. Disaster was there as well, who was the other sort of big name on the card. And I got to have dinner with Disaster, which was quite an experience, just the two of us. But he literally stayed in his hotel room. I was there socialising. He stayed in his hotel room the whole time. They were buzzing about meeting him. He turned up, performed, and then pissed off again. So you're paying a lot of money for people who aren't necessarily there to support what you're paying them for, and I can see that being a huge factor in probably why Danny Jack has decided to quit. But he's laid his own bed. I'm a huge supporter in the British scene, and I don't see why we need to lean on the Americans so much. They should be sprinkled about. They should be a novelty. They should be they should draw people in, but we need to keep them there. Danny Jack, in my opinion, should be spending that £1,000 airfare and that £300 hotel bill on paying 6 English guys £150.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember when Fifth Birthday was a bit of a flop or whatever with the international guys, and they did the Nottingham event that was all UK battlers. You had Yunnan dialect. I think weren't you on that? Didn't you battle Bruce C on that?
I battled Bruce C. I on 4 days prep, and I I come polished. I wasn't sort of my peak, but I didn't choke. I had a couple of bars that I fought up on the day that I didn't get out properly, but you know, I sort of I turned up and did a thing. That was the most I've ever been paid for a battle as well. I think I can't remember the amount, but gave me hundreds and hundreds that day, which was good. Obviously, they needed someone last minute, and Brucey thought that I could do the job. So, but yeah, I mean, what you've said there is that it was a novelty that there was an all-British event.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we've got Real Deal versus Quill at Next in Line 3, and it's like, that's fine, but it's just insert international here. There's no real context.
Yeah. It shouldn't be a novelty that there's a big British battle event in Britain. And when we're like, this is going on to another subject I've sent you about, when we're doing battles that are being put on King of the Dots page and just being insulted in the comments. I used to love reading the comments, good or bad. It used to, if I read a bad comment, he's mumbling, what's he doing with his hands, why does he keep touching his nose? I used to move on and try and better that for the next time. But when they're just saying, I can't understand what they're saying, this is bullshit.
Yeah. Fuck
you. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a huge xenophobe, but I've got a lot of love for sort of what we're doing here. And if they don't appreciate what we're doing, then let's just do our own thing again. Let's just bring it back.
So, what do you think of the pros and cons of Chalked Out and King of the Dot?
I think that for people to be able to say that they've battled on King of the Dot is a huge thing. They're the biggest league of all time in battle rap. I think that's undeniable. You could say the URL are, but I think URL battlers have almost got the opinion that they're a little bit above, and they almost consider themselves to be industry rappers. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'd say that King of the Dot was the biggest battle league for me personally, and they've survived the test of time. They're continuing to put on big events and get bigger and bigger. But I wouldn't buzz off saying that I battled on King of the Dot as much as I'd buzz off saying that I'd gone to Canada. And to say that I'd gone to Canada would mean that you'd need to put the work in here and then get invited over there.
Yeah, it made me, and this I might seem like a dickhead, but it made me cringe slightly. The battle was like, oh, I'm on King of the Dot. It's like, well, someone uploaded your file on the YouTube channel. You didn't get an airplane ticket. Like, they came to us, and it's like the fact that Centre vs Shocks has less than 40k. I mean, maybe it wouldn't get enough on Chalked Out, and maybe it doesn't really matter. It's on the internet, but it does kind of bother me. I kind of want it on the UK soil, like.
Well, it is on the UK soil. It's
on the channel, on the getting the audience it deserves.
For a Moz Prob, for a guy who I sort of almost, I mean, my first ever Don't Flop event was the second birthday, where I was in a freestyle tournament, and Moz Prob was in it, and we both were thinking we could do it, and sort of looking at making a name for ourselves. And I remember noticing him and thinking he's got an irregular sized head the same as me. So for someone like him to be able to say they've been on the King of the Dot channel is a huge thing. But at the same time, if you're only getting nothing out of it, then what are you getting out of it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I should say as well, just in the comments, Ricardo Lewis is always donating. Thank you so much. He's saying, Pamflit, your battle with Calcium Kid is still the funniest shit I've ever seen. You're one of my favourite battlers. Had me creasing. Oh,
thank you. It's one of my sort of ones that I wasn't really too thrilled about. I thought that I was going to sit down. It happens a lot of the time as well. You think you're going to sit down and have a million ideas for someone, and then it turns out that you don't. You hit dead ends. And I've always made the comparison. I've probably said it to you every time I've spoken, but I consider it to peeling wallpaper. When you're peeling wallpaper, you can sit for ages peeling off tiny little bits. If you get that one big bit of paper and you pull it slowly and you gradually pull it back, you can get the whole sheet off in one pull. And you can write a whole round in 1 hour. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you can, with another opponent, you can sit there and write one line and not be happy with it, and then write another line 2 days later and not be quite happy with it. So Calcium was one of those ones where I just didn't sit down and really write for.
And Shawnee B in the comments saying, other than Don't Flop, what was your favourite platform to battle on?
I'd say Barmageddon, purely on the basis that, do you know what, that was the first time I got paid. That was the first time I got paid, Tom, and I had a nightmare. I slept in an inflatable bed with innuendo, I believe, that night,
Wow.
and had a nightmare that I'd stolen £20 off of Skitty because he paid me £20 for my train fare, and I felt bad about that. Do you know what I mean? Because I was so used to doing it for free. I mean, and that's another thing. People want money these days, and I don't really think there's the money there to pay them. And I think that's the dead end that a lot of leagues are hitting. Is there's no passion, there's no love, there's no will to do well for the league in the hope that the league can then do well for them. There's a lot of people wanting instant gratification with a payday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw the Quill stuff with Premier Battles. That seems to have been pretty much what happened there.
The Quill stuff with
Premier
Battles?
So Quill basically came in as a manager, and I don't think he understood that you were only being paid when you were battling, because you're a manager, but he felt he was getting paid for setting up the matchups. But Briggsy did like a live with Flawless, and he basically Briggsy contacted all the battlers, are you free, arranged that sort of thing, and Quill left basically. Quill, I don't know his side of the story, I'm just going on what Briggsy said. Rivers has stepped in, and I mean, there isn't much money in Battle Rap. I mean, economically as a model, Battle Rap makes no sense, does it? Look at Next in Line, for example, getting Real Deal over here, getting Excel over here. How much is a flight from Pittsburgh? Must be
I know.
£700-800. They're not going to make that on the door or pay-per-view.
Yeah, so don't bother then. Danny Jack would still be passionate about Battle Rap, would still be in love with Battle Rap if he wasn't paying £800 to whoever you said. I can't even remember the name you just said there.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the fact that, I mean, Quill's a name. Quill has built himself to the top. Quill has built himself to the top of what we do. And Quill deserves money, because I say to the top. I mean, a lot of the top guys have left. So he's built himself up, and he is at the top. I think Quill's one of the top 3, 4, 5 people in the country. Mm-hmm. So I think Quill deserves money for his time. So I'm almost not talking about Quill. But I almost, at the same time, when I found out that Quill was going to be a part of Premier Battles, didn't think that he would last, because I know that he expects a little bit of money. Yeah. So it's almost like, if Quill wants the money and people can't afford to give it to him, then he's not going to battle. He's not going to be a part of the scene anymore. The same as a lot of us guys that did reach the top. And I say us guys, I mean, I headlined a few events, and I was the sort of top of the card. So I consider myself there at one point, but I think the fact that Quill built himself to the top, but the thing is as well, I'd headline Don't Flop one week, and then but not get any pay for it, because that wasn't the structure at the time. But then I'd go and do Barmageddon the next week for 20 quid. Do you know what I mean? So he needs to be a bit more flexible, I think, and just sort of work with what he's offered. And if he wants to figurehead a team in a league, in a situation like Premier Battles, which is quite an exciting thing to be a part of, he needs to be a bit more flexible in terms of what he's going to get out of it, because money isn't everything at the end of the day. And what I always thought was, by me travelling to Birmingham for 20 quid for 1,000 views, which Don't Flop was always able to offer the views, not the money, but the views. But for me travelling to Birmingham for 20 quid, pouring my heart into it, which is again coming back to that Mech Sherry thing, what I wanted to do was put on a show for the Wolverhampton crowd, and give them something that they might not necessarily see otherwise. By doing that, the hope was that I'd gain fans there for myself and for Battle Rap and for Don't Flop, and then when my next battle come out, I might get an extra 500 or 1,000 views off the guys who were there, and the shares and the word of mouth and stuff like that.
And what do you think of Premier Battles in general? Have you watched much of it?
I've watched what's on YouTube. I mean, I sent you my notes, but I'm literally just working through them in my head now. So from there, from Premier Battles, I'd move on to that you seem to bring up a lot, and again, I say this as another fan, your opinions are completely valid, but I won't go and subscribe to a channel that hasn't excited me.
So you're very precious about your subscription box, because for me, I just want to support the scene in general.
But how's it supporting it if you're just flicking by it? Because I don't. I mean, what happened was Don't Flop disappeared, and then Six Leagues come out of that. That's what happened, yeah. And so I've only got a certain amount of time at home, and I've got my channels that I enjoy watching. I've got Ashens, I've got Cinemassacre, which is the angry video game.
I love Cinemassacre, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got about 5 or 6 channels that I watch, and I don't get much time to watch YouTube. These channels that I really enjoy watching, I can spend a week and not get to watch a single video, and then I might get a Sunday evening where I get to watch YouTube for 2 hours, and I'll watch the 4, 5, 6 videos that have come out in the week that I actually want to watch. And this is going into the Scoop thing, I believe. Did I mention something about Scoop?
I think you did, yeah. I can't quite remember exactly what, but yeah.
So, I mean, the situation with Scoop was I sat down and watched Scoop versus some random American who I'm not really...
what's his fucking name? Shotty P.
Insert.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He was there for the money. He didn't care. He probably had a bigger battle the week after that he got paid less for. So I sat down and watched that, loved it. I was sort of happy anyway at that particular time, but I was really, really buzzing off of Scoop's performance, delivery, and bars, energy. The crowd was buzzing, and I thought, right, I'm gonna subscribe to Chalked Out because of that battle.
Right.
Because I thought if they've given me this, now I'm going to give them something, even if it's just to subscribe, and because I know that they're putting people on their channel who have excited me. I want to watch the content that they're putting out. That's what it should be about. There's no supporting the scene. It's a massive scene. It's a massive scene, and you can't support everything. But if they're giving you something that you want, then support them. Do you know what I mean? So I went to click subscribe, then I realised I'd already subscribed because Ambi's just the nicest guy in battle rap. Yep. So I probably at one point thought, right, I've got to subscribe here. And again, it's the bridge. Ambi gets in my inbox every now and again, not just to ask me for a battle, but to have a chat with me, to see how I'm doing and stuff like that. And for that reason alone, if I did return, it would probably be a conversation with Ambi and say, who do you want me to battle? But yeah, so I think that by paying guys like Scoop, who has quit, by paying guys like Scoop, that's how you bring the subscribers in, because you're putting out content that people actually want to see. And Scoop needs to be doing more. Scoop doesn't want to be quitting. If Scoop wants to be a success in battle rap, in my opinion, and help battle rap and help himself, he needs to be performing once a month, once every 6 weeks, bringing that fire, bringing that entertainment factor, entertaining me. I want to be entertained, Tom. I don't care if it is Cinemassacre, I don't care if it is Ashens, or I don't care if it is Chalked Out. I want to be entertained. I've only got 5 hours a week to myself.
Actually, I mentioned this to Mickey before. I did an episode with James Rolfe of Cinemassacre, so I'll have to send you the link to that. But yeah, you mentioned also Respect BA, Tony D, Soul, like the length of the reign and the rise of these battlers. Yeah,
so Respect BA, Tony D, Soul have all been doing it for ages and ages and ages. They've all been they started small, they grew with the league. Maybe not Respect BA, I'd put him in a category higher than Soul and Tony in terms of he was there really at the infancy. But Tony D and Soul they were there when I was there, and they were still there recently. Do you know what I mean? They really put the work in. They've grown their fan base, and they've grown battle rap's fan base. And as controversial as this might sound, the fact that Shocks has sort of stepped back from it now, he really is top tier in our country. He really is the figurehead at the moment in terms of what I just said. Like Scoop, you can put a Shocks battle on and know that you're going to get excited, know that you're going to get enthralled in what he's saying and the way that he's saying it. And again with Scoop, I want to see Shocks battling once a month, once every 6 weeks, 6 times a year.
But can they though? I mean,
yes.
The environment doesn't really exist. There aren't that many events, like
because they're not there. Yeah. If there are the events, they're not there. There's an event every flipping week. They're not there, and that's why. And that's why when another guy I was going to talk about was Frost. Yeah. When Frost doesn't do it for me, but he does it for other people, and he could do it for me.
Yeah.
What Frost needs is to be on cards where he's in the middle, where your Max Sherry's warming the crowd up, and the Max Sherry's turned up and tried and warmed the crowd up for the Frost, who then carries that on for the Scoop, who then sends it over the top, and then for the Shocks, who comes in the last hour and just completely blows everyone's minds. That's when they leave excited. That's when the fans leave excited about Battle Rap, and that's when they come back, and that's when there's another big event the next month with all British battle rappers. Maybe Frost isn't in this one. Maybe Max Sherry isn't opening. Maybe it's Conman Curve or another guy that's coming on. And Twister as well. I spoke to you about Twister. Twister is by default almost top tier because he's good, because he understands how to write a bar, he understands how to perform a bar, and if what I said earlier about Calcium Kid not being able to write a bar, if he can't sit down and write a funny bar about his opponent, he can deliver it in a way where it seems funny and the crowd are entertained. That's what we need to do. We need to start thinking about how we're going to entertain people, because it's such a disposable time at the moment. YouTube, subscriptions. I don't know. I'm What Culture. I'm on What Culture, and they've got this thing at the start. It says ding ding dong. Because you can't just subscribe to a channel these days. You've actually got, yeah. So we're in a world at the moment where you can't even ask for content. You have to demand it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and everything's being demonetized as well. Like back in the day, if Barmageddon had O'Shea on and got 30,000 views, that can pay for the travel of a few MCs for the next event. But nowadays, it's non-existent.
No, but my point is that O'Shea would never get 30,000 views on a platform that wasn't Don't Flop at that time. What O'Shea can do is put on a good performance and encourage the 30 people in the room to come back the next event and watch whoever Skitty had coming in next, Innuendo, me, Bowski, whoever it was, and they'll bring 2 friends each. That's what we've got to stop doing, is thinking, right, A leads to Z. We've got to start working our way back up. We've got to start building up building up the platform, building up the fan base again. Because what Blunt Ted was saying the other day about people not showing up to events is because they've got no motivation at all. They're not battle rappers. They could be battle rappers. They could be, if they're at the bottom of these big exciting cards. If they're tryouts in the first two battles, and get that buzz for it and get their love for it and come back again, and people want to see them again. But at the moment, we think a lot of people think it's close, and it's not. We're actually falling away, and we need to start putting in those baby steps. I've put on a lot of weight. And for me to think I'm going to get I have. And for me to think I'm going to get my 6-pack back, or whatever pack it is I had in 2 months, is ridiculous. I need to start putting in the work now, putting in the baby steps, so that, you know, in a year's time I can be where I want. That's what we need to start doing. Yeah. We need to start thinking more long term, baby steps. Not 30,000 views for O'Shea, 5,000 views for O'Shea, but we're getting people in the building for the next event.
Yeah, you're right. It is degrading. I mean, I saw something just the other day, and I don't mean this in a slight or anything like that, but Briggsy posted Yunnan versus Rivers, and he was like, "This just crossed 10k, and it's been out for like a month or so." And people in the comments were sort of mocking him, like, you know, back in the days it used to be 30k, whatever. I remember, wasn't it Dialect versus Double L that got like a ridiculous amount of views really early on, and just, I don't know, people just moved on to the next thing. I guess it's just a diehards left.
Yeah, absolutely. Things change. Yep. Back in the day, you could get two euros for £1. You know what I mean? It's not. It's not 2014 anymore.
It isn't. No.
We need to live in the now. We need to work out what the current climate is and try and improve on that. Try and build from that. And there are guys doing it, but as I say, what I want is for Shocks and Danny Jack not to be running leagues, but to be performing in leagues. And let 2 people run the league.
Yeah, it's quite nice actually. Early on, we did the little chat before you went on. Hats, a guy in the chat was fearing that you're going to be a bit of an old head, but he's saying Pammy not coming across an old head at all, making complete sense. And one of the things you want to speak about as well, you said if hadn't stamped down on big names battling for other leagues, would battle rap have flourished as it did?
Yeah. So I think it's quite clear. And do you know what? I love her. I think her's done a hell of a lot for me. I met my wife at a battle event I wouldn't have been at had it not been for
Oh, I
her.
didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I met my wife battling Jack Sexton in Newcastle.
Right.
We didn't hit it off straight away. I had to chase her for a bit, but it wouldn't be worth it if I hadn't. Do you know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right.
But yeah, I've got a hell of a lot of love for her. But there was a time where he nipped it in the bud if a battle rapper wanted to perform on Barmageddon, and that's why you had me, Bowski, O'Shea, Innuendo. I mean, Innuendo wasn't even part of Don't Flop then. That's why you had us five travelling to Barmageddon, to Wolverhampton, to Liverpool, to these small leagues to perform. But my thoughts, and I used to tell her this because I'm a wrestling fan and I know exactly how it is. Independence thrive. What you need to do is go to Liverpool, go to Birmingham. Sorry, not just London and Manchester, which is where we were mainly positioned at the time. Put on shows and draw these fans in, and then they become fans of Don't Flop. Now, by him saying to Tony, Soul, I mean, these guys were quashed in terms of who they were able to perform for because of her. He shot himself in the foot, in my opinion. Because by going to Birmingham, you're building that fan base up. You're making people care about the product, and without the fan base growing, what did was stop the fan base growing. In my opinion, he really wanted to sort of concentrate on his own league. But I think that by going to these smaller places, that's how you build the fan base up. So I think he shot himself in the foot. And I was one of the first to fall out with him because of that.
Yeah, yeah. Patrick in the comments saying Nottingham is one of the best cities for battle rap because not much goes on there. So whenever there's an event, they show enough love.
Yeah, I mean, not much goes on anywhere, Tom.
Yeah.
Apart from London and Manchester.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. They are. I mean, everyone says Manchester's the mecca of battle rap. Have you heard that idea? It's been floated about
Well,
recently.
I travelled to Manchester to battle twice in a week before from living in London, and it wasn't just living in London. I was living an hour out of London, so I'd have to travel to London, which was 20 quid,
Yeah.
and then travel to Manchester, and then from Manchester travel to wherever it was I was performing. So that was a constant for me. And then the second I moved to Manchester, Chronicle and fell out, and there was no more leagues in Manchester. So, but yeah, Manchester crowds, they really. It's a smaller city than London, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to Manchester perform and know that you're going to see the same crowds every time. You're going to see the same people every time, and that's what it was. And that's what I want these guys now to be a part of. Is that the hacienda, the being feeling like you're really a part of something. And do you know what? I think Dub Scandal. I see Dub Scandal, and I really think they are the strongest contenders. In terms of recreating that vibe. I'm sure you'll agree.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and yeah. I think that would make a natural place for your return. I know you said chalked out before, but yeah, no, it's very infectious. It reminds me of when I was watching the early Don't Flop battles, and I just really wanted to go because everyone seemed to be having such a fun time. Like and nowadays, I mean, match day 2 that I was at recently in Concrete was a bit of a wet flab. Really wasn't very good. Another thing you spoke about, which I liked, was you said compliments novelties battles should be a fun vacation from the norm to keep writing interesting. Battlers shouldn't be doing them on the first or second battle.
Yeah, I mean, we did one. Don't Flop April Fools was once a year. Do you know what I mean? And it was kind of like, and you spend the 3 months leading up to it thinking what fun battle you could do there. But sorry, 1 second.
That's all good.
Right, yeah. Sorry,
I mean, you did the Joker Batman. I mean, I know it wasn't April Fools, but the football bars one is still a classic for me. Like.
Yeah, but yeah, so it was a vacation for the norm. What you're doing, your bread and butter should be battle rap. Your bread and butter should be your opponent. Your bread and butter should be I'm going to battle Conman Curve in Newcastle in 2 weeks' time. What am I going to say about Newcastle? What am I going to say about Conman Curve? What am I going to say about the league that he's on? Where he's from, the particular part of Newcastle he's from. Stuff like that. That should be what you're thinking about, and that should be what you're going there to perform. But every now and again, it's fun to have a novelty battle, but for new guys coming in to be instantly looking at that. I mean, it's a break from the norm. It's easy. It's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier to do a novelty battle, but it's also a bit more empty. Do you know what I mean? It's not battle rap. It is novelty. It's novelty. If the Premier League only did legends or only did these sort of charity celebrity football matches, no one would care about the Premier League. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I know. I follow golf a little bit, and I know that Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson are doing this £9 million one-off match, and everyone's going crazy because it's not an official tournament, it's not whatever, and it's like they're April Fools for something. What stands out for you? Any April Fools, any novelty battles that you really love out of interest?
Kind
of putting you on the spot there. I mean, let us know in the comments as well, anyone listening. But there's a lot of good ones out there, obviously. Like, I mean, your impressions one with Kraft that hasn't got released yet, has it?
No, and I was having really good conversation with her about the state of things and how I said I was telling him one day we're all gonna forgive each other and we're all gonna be there and we just need to keep trying and build these bridges. And then I said, oh, by the way, is my Craft D battle coming out at any point? And I didn't get a response from everyone else. So but he has started releasing from that event, so hopefully it does come out. It's what. If you want to be a battle rapper, you need to be a battle rapper. Do you know what I mean? You need to actually battle people. You can't just be expecting to. You can't be turning to the novelty battles after 2 or 3 battles. That was the point.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back through. We've had loads of comments on the live stream. Thank you to everyone who's listening. And some of these will touch on points we've gone through back. But keep the questions coming, and we'll get to them. B Cameron saying, how many UK names does Pam think can actually bring fans through the doors? I can see that being a reason for why US battlers are used. I mean, you mentioned Scoop before,
but we're sitting here, Tom, talking about the state of UK battle rap.
Sure.
So they're not the answer. They're not the solution. They're not helping. They're if anything, they're driving guys like Danny Jack, who have been organising events, who have been organising these huge next in line events, away from the scene. They're ruining it for us. I'm sorry, but they're ruining it for us. Yeah. So they're not the answer. So we need to start looking elsewhere. Canal, again, Scoop. But what I said earlier, I haven't got the time to sit there and watch guys that I don't know. And the wormhole is one of your favourite things is sort of discussing with people the excitement of first getting into battle rap and watching person A versus person B and then watching person B versus person C and going through the whole alphabet. If we're unable to do that because there's only person A, person B, and then 20 Americans, and Raptor as well. I'm sorry, Raptor. I love you, Raptor. You're such a good battle rapper when you want to be, but I'd rather you not be on a card if you're A, not going to turn up, or B, not going to perform, because you've got so much in you, and I don't just want to see that when you're against the big American. I want to see that when you're against the small guy, because then that small guy gets me excited about that small guy when he performs against you. Do you know what I mean?
Did you see Raptor versus Craft D on Chalked Out?
Yeah.
The attitude from Raptor there is like, ugh.
Everyone's allowed 1 or 2 of them battles, but he's had more than 1 or 2 of them battles. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's allowed to have got too drunk the night before or not be inspired by someone. But when I feel that people aren't trying, that upsets me. Yeah, you got to try, and not just for you, just for you. Yeah, fuck it, just for you, because by building the scene up, you're building yourself up.
I think that's fair enough. I mean, you owe it to yourself as an integrative performer, don't you, to the audience? I think there's a lot of performances that Raptor's going to look back on in 10 years and just cringe, because the Tony battle, for example, the Big Cannon battle, are some of the best rounds ever on Don't Flop. Like,
yeah, and that's why. Do you know what? And I wasn't. My intentions weren't to come in here and insult anyone, right?
Of course not.
The only people that I'm going to insult are people who I feel have more in them than they're prepared to give, and Raptor is definitely one of them. And I think we all know that. Yunnan.
Oh my god.
I mean, Yunan's been in the scene too long. Yunan needs to take. Not only needs to, I mean, we're moving on to another topic straight away. The constant Bobby Rex. You know, I'm done with battle rap. My life's difficult. My life is difficult. I need to concentrate on my life, but here comes this opportunity, here comes that opportunity, and suddenly I'm sitting there and having to write instead of sort of living my life. Do you know what I mean? There's constant exciting opportunities in this scene, but unless you've actually got the time to put into it, which a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. You know, I was single, I was unemployed, I had nothing else going on other than putting every single part of me into battle rap. And if you are single and unemployed, then put every single part of you into battle rap. If you're not, take a battle once every 3 months, but turn up. If you want to do it, if you want to be part of the scene, if you want to be recognised on the street, because otherwise you're just hindering things, because people are turning up and they're not excited about what they see.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, there's a sort of factory line quality about it. DJ Space Hop in the comments, not really a question, saying big up Pamflit, one of the funniest battlers for sure. The football bars you did with Bleak was hilarious. Telling him he looked like the offspring of Gary Pallister and African Steve Bruce.
Yeah.
That is such a good battle. I mean, anyone listening who hasn't seen that battle, I'm sort of into football tangentially, but the multi-game, your references are insane in that battle.
Yeah, I took the battle because I know a lot about football. I know a lot about old football. Do you know what I mean? I don't necessarily know as much about it today because again I'm busy. But what did he start that question with?
He just said big up Pamflit, one of the funniest battlers for sure. The football bars.
I mean, I've literally travelled across Europe today. Oh, do you know what?
I take the praise from DJ Space Hopper. That's no,
I genuinely appreciate it. Genuinely appreciate it. There's funny battle rappers now. They just, it's so frustrating, Tom. It's so frustrating. Oh, do you know what? I'd love to run a league, but I haven't got the patience. I haven't got the patience with people like me.
We did the Battle Resume event, as I said the other day, and a lot of people they're like, "Oh, is this a league? Going to keep doing this?" Like, I can't be asked. I don't want to do it. Like, I'll just do an annual thing. Yeah, it went really well. I mean, the battles. All the battles were 3-0s, which isn't really what you want. They weren't contests, unfortunately. The opponents pretty much choked. But we did the live Mastermind with and Danny Jack, and that was really good. And I think if we were to do another event in the future, the headliner would be like a Mastermind or kind of what I want to do to put in a new direction. I'm kind of giving away our secrets here. We kind of want to do maybe an event. It's almost like a sit-down event where it's just like I'll interview a battler for an hour and then we'll have a few battles and then we'll do Mastermind or just do something a bit different rather than... Because the problem is Code Red is chalked out, is Don't Flop, is King of the Ronalds. Yeah. It's all, too many leagues.
Yeah. And they are all intertwined as well. There's no defining... if anything... King of the Ronalds is probably the most unique in terms of they're run by Mickey, and Mickey's a very, very unique character in himself, and they really have sort of set themselves aside. But now Mickey's back in bed with her, you know. Yeah. I mean, I've not seen sort of a battle since he's been back in bed with her, but where that goes, I'm unsure.
Let's see what people are saying.
You do warm to these people, though. Do you know what I mean? Ashens is a guy that reviews crap from Poundland.
Yes.
But he's got such a dry sense of humour, and all you ever see is his hands, really. But I've really warmed to him. I really like him as a person. There's a guy that reviews wrestling games, so he'll do everyone in order from sort of the start, and it's almost comforting for me to sit there on a Sunday evening and watch him play computer games that I used to enjoy 20 years ago. It's comforting. It's nice. You feel like you know these people, and that's what battle rappers used to be. They almost used to be friends without actually knowing them, because you get to know the characters.
I felt that. And this is so weird to say, but I remember watching Blizzard versus Mark Grist and commenting to my friend, this is the first time I ever saw it, that had a really warm smile. Like, I found it quite magnetic to watch, and it endeared me to the league. It's so odd, but very true. Broken English asking 2 questions, Pam. What is your favourite battle line? I guess he means your own favourite battle line, which is a very hard question. And what's the craziest thing you've ever seen at an event?
The one that instantly come to my mind when he said that was an Australian. That's just a less distinguished version of an English person.
Oh, shout out Justice. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what comes to me instantly. So I'd have to say that.
The
I used to be
craziest thing you've seen?
fascinated about those Scribble Jam videos when I used to
Oh,
watch them. How they like. I've done freestyle battles since, and you come up with stuff before you sort of go out there. But then, how do you bridge between your? You've got three lines, but you've got a minute and a half to fill. How do you bridge between them, and then come back on beat to the bit that you were going to do next? You know what I mean? It's. I've said it before. When you're battle rapping, freestyle battle rapping, your brain's like a filing cabinet, and you've got in each filing cabinet you've got these envelopes with the bars that you've thought up, and it's just about how quick you can flick through that cabinet and pull out the one that you need. It's a very difficult skill. So seeing people overperform, and Justice really overperformed in that Scribble Jam. No one expected what he did. But to come out with that, no, sorry, it was the Saurus who said that, wasn't it?
yes, it was. Sorry, yeah. The source said that
sorry,
against Justice.
Saurus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but again, I mean, he'd had that. He'd had that. He'd seen Justice smash it in the first round and thought, right, what can I say about this guy? An Australian. That's just the list. Do you know what? My favourite battles. I love watching my battles back because I've got my sense of humour, believe it or not, and I buzz off. I buzz off the stuff I've written in the past. But for me, the most exciting thing is watching a freestyle battle I did and thinking, how the fuck did I come up with that last minute? Where did that come from? You know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but you're sitting in a room, you know how to write a bar, and you just come up with it in your head, and you go out there and you just say it. It's so exciting. And the fact that I haven't sat there and written it for 2 months and practiced it for 2 months or a month or whatever it was, is so exciting. It's exciting for me to watch it back because you don't know where it comes from. Do you know what I mean? You're like, where did that come from? And to see other people do it is just it's brilliant. So the Scribble Jam stuff I used to love watching.
Yeah, Saurus versus
and what-
Justice is one of the reasons I love battle rap.
Yeah.
Sorry about my speech impediment, just trying to learn how to speak American.
Yeah.
Name Saurus, but your face looks like an asteroid killed you, and the acne cream gasoline, and yeah, oh man, it's
Yeah,
anyone.
and
hasn't seen
he
that,
murdered Solomon in the round before, didn't he? And another line that I like on Justice is, "You're just a short, stocky horse jockey." It's so
relevant,
They're
relevant
the
multis.
multis.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
the multis. You know, when someone's short, you think they're short. They're short and stocky, and then you get the horse jockey. So it's like that you can work backwards from the punchlines from where they got them. Scribble Jam Scribble Jam is that raw cocaine. Don't Flop is the cut
Yeah.
version, but.
Yeah, yeah. I was saying this at the Battle Resume event the other day. Like, I love Scribble Jam, but I've never like sat down and watched the whole thing of each year and really paid attention. So definitely do some stuff in the future. I'm just on some torrent sites now. It looks like I can get a few of those. So maybe we'll do this in the future. Daily Dose Media saying, can anyone, I don't care who, just someone please set up Pamflit versus Pat Stay? Surely Pamflit will return for that.
See, have you ever seen my Tiny Chat stuff?
Oh yeah, he was in the Brady Bunch Square, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was. I've said to you in the past, it was such a buzz as a fan because I wasn't even a battle rapper then. As a fan, sort of spraying my personality on these guys, the Saurus, not Frank Stacks, Frankie Wops used to be in there. Sort of 10 to 12 battle rappers, and Pat. I sort of squared up to him a few times, like, you wouldn't intimidate me. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably taller than you. I'm not bigger than you because I actually do cardio, but at the time anyway. But I always thought that I could give Pat Stay a good go. The thing is with Pat Stay, he's genuinely I'd say he's top 3 in the world.
Yeah.
Would you argue with that?
I definitely probably agree. Yeah, I think in terms of personality, he just had a battle against Danny Myers last week, which I just watched, which was fantastic. So he's still, in the prime. He's still writing, and he's just, I don't know. He works well in that aggressive sphere, but his compliments battle against Shufflo, he's hilarious in that realm.
You know what? I don't remember that. What my opinion on Pat Stay is that he has the ability to rhyme words that shouldn't rhyme.
Right.
He has the ability to. When you've got I'm using the most simplest one here because my brain's not functioning properly. Because as I said, I've literally just got off a plane. You've got your blow, snow, Joe, yo, ho. He can make words that it's like, how's he going to get himself out of this one? He's started this multi. There's nothing that rhymes with it. Oh shit, he's done that with it. Do you know what I mean? He can take it there in terms of carrying on a multi in a direction that you just wouldn't expect from him. He is definitely all time. I'd say he's definitely my top three anyway. I mean, the Saurus is my all time top three for what he did back in the day. Not necessarily his work now, but back in the day. And then I wouldn't know who I'd say the third was. Disaster. I'd say probably Pat Stay, Disaster, and the Saurus are my top three all time.
I mean, Saurus is still killing it. Did you see Topper?
I did see Topper. I thought Topper was good, but Topper was dumbfounded. Right. If you want to see the Saurus performance, dumbfounded. Even the sort of the early days of grind time for me. The early days, Tom, we really need to do an episode about the early days of grind time because
we've been saying this for so long. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah. Illusion Z, the Saurus, Disaster, Dumbfounded, Flow, Dirtbag Dam. But back when he was killing it, there was so much excitement in that room. It's seeing. Do you know what? It's seeing people laugh at stuff that isn't funny. Mm-hmm. That is gold for me. That is gold because you know that they're excited about something that you don't get, but you see their excitement and you buzz off it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ricardo Lewis saying in the comments, Pamflit, you spotted me at a Red JSD event where you teamed with Big J. I just remembered in Reading. I think I gave you a cigarette? ?
I don't know if I told you about that event. That's one of my. What I was saying about the freestyle battles. I literally, I was performing sort of once or twice a month at that point, and I was lying in bed on a Sunday morning, and I liked Hawks and Rogers people. I thought they were good guys, and I knew they had a league, and they were doing this event in Reading, and someone dropped out, and I inboxed whoever, and I said, look. If I can get a partner, I'll come up. And so I put on Facebook, who wants to battle Orcs and Rogues with me? And Big J said, yeah. And I sat there and I wrote probably about 30 seconds of material per round. And the trick was, I mean, I haven't used that trick since, but Impact, who come up with us, he had my bars. So I had, you look like, your mum looks like Kate Bush and your mum looks like Kate's Bush. Right. That's the sort of stuff I was coming up with, right? Sure. But I had Impact with a bit of paper written down Kate Bush, and then that sparked off in my head. So he'd whisper to me. But that battle was literally 4 hours in the making, and I really enjoy watching it back. Erwin inboxed me and said it reminded him of the WRCs, which was a bit of a buzz because I'd love to have been a part of that. That would have been me all over. So big him up. And again, you travel to these. He would have been a fan had I not travelled to Reading and performed. But I like to think that I maybe added a little bit of his fandom, seeing sort of a. Because if I'd not been there, it would have been literally, as I say, someone pulled out. It was only a free battle card, and two of my bars at the start of my battle were taking the piss out of how crap the last two battles were. These events go on. The crowd, because it was battle rap was a big thing at the time. The crowd are going to turn up because they think they're going to get Don't Flop quality. Yep. Let's give them Don't Flop quality. Let me get a lift with Big J to Reading and come up with bars. And I passed a poster on the way that said Moscow State Circus. So I said, so I said, on the way here, I saw the Moscow State Circus was in town, which is perfect because you spend the days working as a clown. It's not a funny bar, but it's still a bar. It still gets a reaction. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we need to do, Tom.
George Mann asking, I've not heard of this myself, what does Pam think of the new UK wrestling show on ITV?
I've not watched it. As I say, my time is very, very precious. I don't even watch Raw. Same with battle rap. I almost buzz off the old stuff. I'm sorry to the new guys, but this is what I'm saying. If if WWF were going out there and doing what I want them to do, I listen to a lot of modern podcasts talking about modern products, and they have so many good, fresh, new ideas. And I almost think that that Vince McMahon goes against these great ideas purposely so that he doesn't give them the pleasure of thinking, oh, I come up with that, I was right. He almost turns it in a direction that it shouldn't go in, because just to spite people who are excited about the direction it is going, which is ridiculous. So the old stuff for me.
Yeah, apparently Verstrack is saying that A-Hat, which is I think they're in Vegas, Nevada League, tried to do a battle rap convention in the States a couple of years ago. Not sure it turned out. I mean, yeah, we can do that. We can rent a room or something. I really like that idea, and I think that'd be fun to go with.
In my head, I'm picturing an actual Don't Flop event. I'm picturing the Attic. I'm picturing Concrete. I'm picturing an actual battle rap event with 6 battles, 8 battles, the top names of the day. But then you've got Tenchu, you've got Lunacy, you've got O'Shea, you've got and Kruger in the same room. I don't know how that situation is, but you've got Bagnall, you've got Archaic, you've got the guys that people actually want to meet all in the same room at once, and they're coming because they get to meet all the guys that they want to meet. They get to meet Ashen, they get to meet James Rolfe, they get to meet the guys who they feel that they've become friends with through watching them on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's have a look at some of these other questions here. Sean Revolt saying, what happened to you opening a league in Amsterdam, Pam? I have remembered you were going to do that once.
I have random memories in my head of times in the past, and I remember walking from Sainsbury's to the gym, formulating this idea in my head before I'd even battled ever, that I was gonna inbox and say, you've just opened a league in Ireland, let's open a league in Holland. I really wanted to move to Holland at the time. I just got back from Australia. And I wanted to move to Holland. I wanted to start his Don't Flop Amsterdam League there. And, I think I might have even inboxed him and asked him about the idea. That is some old school shit right there. And that's what encouraged me to go to Rotterdam and get my debut out of the way. Because I thought the idea of having a battle rap in the red light district whilst everyone was smoking zits at the time anyway was gold. Do you know what, Tom? The amount of ideas I've had that I've inboxed league owners is ridiculous. I don't want to sit here and take credit for some stuff that's happened, but I have planted seeds in the head of some people that have come to fruition, and I'm not sitting there taking credit for anything, but even if an idea doesn't, even if I'm ridiculed in the response, I send it out anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that anything I can do, even if I do plant a seed, anything I can do, I've got quite a creative mind, and anything I can do to try and help, I'm going to try. Do you know what I mean? So poor Ambi, the amount of stuff I've sent him over the last sort of 2 years.
Any of it been heeded?
No. No. All I'm saying is the what was it? The In Your House tour. That was all my idea.
Is that right? That was your idea.
Well, the thing is right. Battle. I'm drunk here, so I'm talking too much. Battle rap, right, is about people writing their rhymes fresh, turning up, performing them live, and then having them filmed and then played back to everyone there and then, right? The reason wrestling's flourished and again, to go back to the comparison, is because they can go and have the same match in Philadelphia one night, then New York the next night, then Boston the next night, then Detroit the next night. The same match, Tom, but they're entertaining the crowd. So what I said to her was, let's write a battle. It turned out to be Enigma versus Mickey Worthless, but let's say our battling Unanimous. Me and Unanimous will write our rounds. We'll spend the same amount of time as we normally do. We'll perform it on the first night in Leicester. Then we'll go to Southampton and perform the same battle, but I know what he's going to say. So we've promised to sort of keep it cordial. I'm not going to have a whole round of flips, but I might have a cheeky little flip for what I know he's going to say. But then that makes it more entertaining for the crowd. So the crowd enjoy it even more. And then on the third night in Portsmouth, and we know our material down pat. We've got our material. We know how we're going to deliver it. We know the crowd are going to enjoy it, and anything that they don't like, we'll take out, and I might swap it for this. So I said that's exactly what I said to her. And then obviously the In Your House tour come out, and it wasn't quite what I envisioned. I sent a message to Ambi saying, instead of if you want to be unique, why not do that? Why not have 16 battlers, 8 battles, tour the country, and have the same guys perform the same material for live for each battle, and then film it every night and only show the best performance, the best crowd reaction, the best performance, the best flips.
Yeah,
why wouldn't that work,
I like
Tom?
that. No, I think, again, that's a really, really good idea. And I want to urge people again in the comments, any quick questions you have for Pam. We're going to wrap it up in a sec. Verstrack is saying, I think a convention will be much more likely to work in the UK rather than the States. I think Battle Rap Con, you've heard it here first.
Yeah, because we're closer.
Yeah, maybe we'll try and do it in 2019, 2020, something like that in the future. But yeah, any other questions you have of Pam, just as we go through, a lot of people talking about reaction channels called Rock Reacts. Not actually listened to that before. 2 British rock fans reacting to hip hop. Sean Revolt saying Pamflit versus Soul in the car park for some shit league that I can't remember was actually fire. Yeah,
I enjoyed that. I said, what did I say? You're so skinny and weak, you literally sleep in lasagna under a sheet of the pasta. Tom, you sleep in lasagna under a sheet of the pasta.
I think I messaged you before. It'll be out by the time this gets released. We had Shuffle T and Marlo on the show, and we spoke about the mythic lost battle, you two versus Tony and yourself. And the cargo over stormy seas is still one of the ultimate multis for me.
Don't Flop is a ship sailing fast over troubled seas, Marlo and Shuffle T a cargo it doesn't need. But see how I come up with that bar was Marlo and Shuffle T. Well, Marlo rhymes with cargo, and it builds itself up. Do you know what I mean? And that's how freestyle works as well. If you know how to make a bar, if you know that keyword. That key word was Marlo. That key word in that whole thing was Marlo and cargo. Do you know what I mean? Because I hadn't heard that being rhymed against them before. So that's how that built up. That's what more people need to do. I mean, even with this, I don't know if I'd come up with the idea. I don't think I did. I think that was an Earth thing. But that whole teaching people how to battle rap thing, what Headhunters should have been. Mm-hmm. But I inboxed her and said, please let me be a part of it. I was literally coming up with a syllabus on how to write battle raps. I had my how to structure a multi, how to work out a flip. But if you know what you're doing, it's easy. And the only way people and again, what I started with. You know what you're doing because you've gone to an event, because Max Sherry's seen Frost, because Frost has seen Scoop, because Scoop has seen Shocks. Everyone's making each other better.
Yeah, that's true. There is that nourishing environment there, definitely. And I have to go back and watch that Soul Battle versus yourself and Pam. George Mann saying Pam and Tom should do a 2-on-2 together. I mean, I would never want to. I don't want to hold you down like that. I think that would be an absolute massacre. But I think there's still people out there, Pam. I understand mid-30s, what you've given to battle rap, no one can really put into words. So many classic battles. And I think a lot of people, I think as time has gone on, a lot of people realise what you put in and the talent that you brought and stuff. But
I hope so. Actually, can I just have this opportunity to say something, right?
Please.
I was going to inbox you the other day. It's only when I've had a drink and I get all overconfident and I think, I was actually great, wasn't I? Right? I did my last few battles before I came back again for a short stint. I did 4 battles in 8 days, yeah? The first one, Jack Sexton in Newcastle, right? Mm-hmm. Then that was on the Friday. Then the next Friday I did, so it was more than 8 days. The next Friday I did Trademark in Birmingham. Then I did the Saturday, which was the day after, in Wales versus Stowaway. And then I did Warrington versus Jeffers on the Sunday. So that was 3 battles in 3 places in 3 days. You watch those battles, yeah? As far as I'm concerned, I had 1 bad round. And that 1 bad round, yeah, me and Sprungy, I knew I had a chart on my wall. I mean, the Jack Sexton battle wasn't my best performance. But as far as I'm concerned, the other 3 battles, I think, are fire. I think I had some good material in every single battle. I didn't choke in any rounds, and the only round that I was disappointed in, or that got in sort of negativity, even though I had everyone in stitches, was my second round versus Jeffers. It was the last day. I had nothing to go with, and me and Sprungy sat there on the megabus at 4 o'clock in the morning between Wales and Warrington, coming up with, you look like Bret Hart's wet farts, you look like the big boss man was a Rick Ross fan. So we were literally coming out of wrestlers and then multis for them. 1 bad round out of literally 3, 6, 9, 12 rounds. You guys, you go back and watch them. And the other thing is as well, right? I knew I had to write all these rounds here. So I was thinking, what can I do to cheat? So I started each battle with, what was it? I'm sick of these rappers always saying the same jokes. I'd never do that because my tongue is acid. You're an ugly, rabid fucking bastard. Your mother's vag looks and smells like mustard gas in an onion sandwich. So every round, every battle, I started with people saying the same jokes, and I was saying the same jokes. And no one's noticed it. No one's cottoned on to the fact that I did that. But so I thought I'd point it out for you now, Tom, if I'm being honest with you.
No. Thanks for the heads up. And we always say this on all the episodes, but the next time you're going to see Pamflit on the show, we're going to do a grind time. I think we want to do like top 10 grind time battlers. Is that what you wanted to do? Or?
No, I want to do top 10 grind time battlers who weren't on jump off.
Okay, cool.
That's what I want to do, because I think that limits the field a little bit. I think I can use the guys like ATM, Illusion Z, guys who came through after because there was a lot of guys that were on jump off who then made the transition to grind time and smashed it. So.
You just reminded me of Illusion Z. When I had Kruger on early episode, I kind of slated Illusion Z. Obviously Kruger went over there and Illusion Z wasn't great, and he sent me this long email being like, who's the guy who does battle man? I want to come on the show, set the record straight. So yeah, we'll get Illusion Z on, we'll get yourself on, Pam.
You know what, Illusion Z influenced a lot of my delivery, the way he delivered his bars. I was really influenced by his style, so please get Illusion on. There's a few guys that were unsung heroes of that early grind time that I think, not just me, I think a lot of people who came in around my time were influenced by them.
Yeah, and I guess finally, how do people get at you? I know you're not really a social media guy, but is there any communication?
I just like to say, oh God, my wife, if I went a bit quiet halfway through this interview, it's because my wife was writing something down for me to say. So also, she sets a new... Oh, no, wait. All right. By the way, my wife has recently started a home-based business in her space as an independent travel agent.
Right.
So if you want a holiday, go to TaylorMade Travel by Rachel on Facebook. Also, she sets new agents up. So if you are, or anyone you know, want to be... I don't know. Basically, my wife has earned. We were on holiday and she was sitting there going, "Oh, I've earned another $40." Because it's a travel agent. It's basically when you order a holiday, you're paying someone you don't know. If you order a holiday through her at tailormadetravels.com, you will put money in my pocket. And if you want to put money in your pocket, speak to her, because she it's an exciting new venture that she is genuinely earning from, and you can too.
All right,
TaylorMade Travels on Facebook.
And you can buy timeshare also from Pamflit's wife. We'll put the link down below. But this
timeshare doesn't earn money. TaylorMade Travels does, and your travel business can earn money too.
What's a multi for TaylorMade Travel?
Made in. I don't know, Tom. I don't know. I'm not a battle rapper anymore. I've told you this 18 times today.
Pam, this has been a delight to always have you on. Thank you so much. Please follow the show at Battle Rap Resume.
Last thing.
Yeah.
Shocks, Scoop, Raptor, Yunnan. Fucking do your thing, man, because you're there. You're at the front of it now. You're leading the way, and there's people that need you to do the business. Please. Me as well. I need more views for me.
Well, leave us a review on iTunes. Patreon is there, subscribe. And I'll leave it, the last thing I want to say is a comment that we just got on the live stream from Lost, and I completely concur. He says simply, Pamflit should be knighted for his services to entertainment.
Yeah. Thank you.